All right, everybody. I want to thank y'all for tuning in on One Objective tonight. Guys, we got a really great show lined up for you. This is going to be a slam-packed show is what I'm going to call it. I mean, for some, it might not be. But I think it's going to be a slam-packed show with two really great guests, Bill Lowen and KJ Queen. I think it's going to be super amazing just to be able to, Bill Lowen just won his first Bassmaster Elite event. So we're going to have him on talking about that. And then we're also going to have KJ on talking about his just get into the Elite Series. So getting just kind of checking his background and all that and seeing how everything's going to, how it's led up to what it is right now. We're really excited about that. But what you got going on, Chris? Is everything all right? Or?
I'm trying to get it pulled up on the TV. We're live. I can't get it. It's not showing up for some reason.
I got you. But like say, we are you sure we're live on Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
Oh, wait a minute.
Did you?
It didn't go live for some reason. It's live on YouTube.
It's live on YouTube right now?
Yeah, we're live now on YouTube. Now we're live on Facebook.
Oh, so now we're live on Facebook.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't do it. Last week I didn't have to click live on Facebook.
Oh, it sent everything over. Okay, all right. So we're live now. So if you guys just missed,
start over.
Yeah, if you guys missed the intro just a second ago, you can go to YouTube and catch. I'm just kidding. We're just talking about we're gonna have a great show. We're gonna have Bill Lowen on. We're gonna have KJ Queen on. Like I say, we're really excited about having Bill Lowen. Like I say, just coming off his win for the Bassmaster Elites, and then KJ Queen. We're gonna be talking to him about him qualifying for the Bassmaster Elites last year. Bassmaster Elites last year. Also, coming out of college and qualifying through the Opens, and I mean, man, it's a great story. We're gonna be talking to KJ. We're gonna have him on audio tonight. It won't be video, but we will have Bill Lowen on video. Main thing is I want you guys to get them questions in. So if we don't ask enough questions, it's you guys. It always seems like we have some really great questions from our guests. So also towards the end of the night, we're going to be doing a giveaway with RBT Custom Baits. So we're going to have some of that coming up. Chris, you don't have to pull it up right now if you can't, but if you do have it up there, that's fine. But like I say, we're going to be having our giveaway with that some jerk baits from Ron. So I want to thank Ron from RBT Custom Baits. Also,
there it is.
Yeah, there you go. So also, if you are in the market for some really, really awesome buzz baits, if you guys know Jason Hensley from around here, we've had him on the show several times. He talks highly of his buzz baits. We've used them. You want to talk about a really good buzz bait, you need to check out RBT Custom Baits and show him some support because he's helped us out with a lot of giveaways. So make sure you go on over to Ron, check him out on Facebook, and then you can contact him through Messenger and all that. So if you're just now tuning in on Facebook, please hit the share button. Hit that like button as well if you're in here right now. It just helps get that show out there a little bit more. So, much interaction we can get. It's great. So, but other than that, guys, I want to thank all of our sponsors that's helped us out through this year. I know it's been kind of tough on sponsors. It's been kind of tough on the industry all last year, but a lot of them stuck with us, helped us out, got us some product. It's been great. So I just want to thank Bonafide Kayaks, Native Watercraft, Yak Attack, Parapole, Bino Power, Missile Baits, Falcon Rods. Also, if you guys have not checked out the new Falcon Caros, you need to. I know they used to carry them, then they went to the Expert. Now they're back to the Falcon Caros. I love them. Me and James talked about them in our very first Tackle Tuesday that we do on YouTube. We was on there talking about those rods. So make sure you go on there and check out all our sponsors. They've really, really helped us out. And also, like say, RBT Custom Baits for helping us with our giveaways for our shows. So make sure you check that out as well. But like I say, guys, also tonight, Chris, I was talking to you before this, and I know you haven't really – I was going to send you the link and let you read it.
Yeah.
And I didn't get a chance to send it to you. But, we're going to be talking about the whole Auburn students getting expelled for the year, that whole situation. I'm going to want to get your guys' opinion on this. You ain't got to comment right now. But once we get on the topic, we can. If you're listening and want to go look into that article, Wired to Fish had it. Chad Hoover also did a video on YouTube talking about it. He uses a lot bigger words than I would have. Than I can, shall I say. Not would have. Than I can talking about it. But he did a really good job talking about it, his thoughts on it. And I'm going to want to get everybody's thoughts towards the end of it and see what you think. But like I say, if everybody's tuning in, if you haven't, please hit that like button. Also, let us know where you're listening from. I'd like to know where everybody's located, where you're listening from, and it's just nice to see where they're coming from, where they're at. And some guys they still got ice on the water, and some guys are, already past the spawning stage during the fishing season. So, but also check out, we got our new One Objective T-shirts up on our website. They're going fast too. I don't think we have many XLs left, and I think we're going through the largest pretty quickly. But we really like these shirts. These shirts are super comfortable. I ain't been able to get Chris one. Me and James got 2 each, and then we ended up getting our hoodies. These are one-off hoodies. Now, if you guys are ever interested in hoodies, let us know, because we might do a pre-order kind of deal for hoodies. But also, you can check out our hats on oneobjectivebf.com as well, and you can get you some stickers. We got all kinds of One Objective swag if you want to help support us and all that. So I really appreciate it if you guys do buy it. Thank you so much. And but other than that, man, Chris has been going down. Y'all went and checked out a wedding venue. You don't have the name or nothing like that, but y'all went out and checked out a wedding venue, and it had a massive. You showed me a video of a massive lake it had.
Yeah, I don't know how big it is, but it's a good sized lake.
And you say they got a slot limit, so they're trying to make it a trophy lake.
Yeah, it's a 20-inch limit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can't keep no fish over 20 inches.
Correct.
Man, we're gonna have to get there pretty early before the wedding. Well, are y'all gonna have? Well, that's just gonna be for the rehearsal. Is the wedding gonna be there too?
Yeah.
Oh man, we're gonna have it all.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have rehearsal there.
Yeah. I think.
Man, we're gonna work that out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We'll have 2 days early morning fishing maybe, depending on when rehearsal is. But
yeah. Well, it should be. I guess it'll be that Friday.
Yeah. Yeah, man, we got to get out there. That'll be a cool video. That'll be. I'm seeing the title here. I can't get the words out of my mouth. But I'm seeing a title here of something of, like the pre-wedding ceremonies, something like that. You know what I mean?
That. Yeah. Brittany says yes. Yes, as in we're doing a rehearsal there.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So what we need to do is we need to work it out so we can either get it done quick enough, so we can go out fishing afterwards. You listen here. Listen real good, Brittany. Okay. So we need to get it done quick enough so we can go fishing in the afternoon, or we need to get up early so we can go fishing before rehearsal. Yeah. So that's the way I think it needs to go. So, Chris, where we got everybody listening from today? Did anybody say anything on there?
California, New York, Wisconsin, Ohio.
Oh man, a little all over the place right now.
Yeah, a little bit everywhere.
So, but guys, we also, if you guys have not been tuning in, we've been doing the Tackle Tuesday talk. We just did our second one last Tuesday. Getting some positive feedback on that. People seem to be liking it. We had more people on last Tuesday than we did before that. Last weekend we was on there talking about batteries. Yes, I know I'm going to catch crap about it. My dad, Chris, the other day messaged me and was like, "What in the heck is a battery?" After he went back and watched it the next morning.
You got to say it in his voice.
Yeah. What in the world is a battery,
boy?
So, I thought that was funny. I thought, I needed to get a T-shirt made where it says like battery on it. Start our own little trademark with battery or something. I don't know how well the shirt would sell. I don't know. Probably wouldn't sell at all. But I think it'd be pretty funny just because I catch a lot of crap for it. And my granddaddy used to say it. And you know what the crazy thing is now? My son is saying it.
Oh, wow. Carrying on the battery tradition.
Yeah, it ain't going nowhere, man. It's staying here. So, but what time we got here? 8:11. Let's go ahead and call Bill Lowen and get him on the phone. Let's talk about his first Bassmaster Elite win.
All right. We'll get that music going.
That old Skype music.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Scared me for a second.
He's on.
Hey, Bill. How you doing, buddy?
Good, bud. How are you?
Oh, not too bad, man. I appreciate you taking the time coming on. Chris is going to build up your scene here, just kind of get everything built up through Skype onto the show. But
All
tell us a little bit about where you're at right now, man. Did you make it back home, or are y'all out going for the next event, or? I got you, Bill.
You still there?
Oh, yeah. You got me, buddy?
All right. Yeah, I lost you there for a second.
Now, I said, just tell us a little bit where you're at right now, what you're doing, getting ready for the next event.
Right now, we're actually sitting in the campground at Lake Ray Roberts in Texas. We're going to practice for a little bit before it goes off limits for the Classic. And then we're going to head over to get ready for the Sabine River.
Yeah. Which is always, I love and I really enjoy watching the Sabine River events because they're always a grinder. You know what I mean? It's either you'll have one or two guys or I'll say a few guys that normally really get them, but it's like, it seems like it's a grinder event. You know what I mean? Like you really got to run and gun to find some fish.
Yeah, every time I've ever been to the Sabine River, it's always been a grinder. I'll be honest with you. Those are the ones that I like.
Yeah. Yeah, and let's talk a little bit about how you like to fish anyways, because we had you on a while back. And this is when our show first started. And I think it was like our second or third guest we had on. And we was talking about, you being kind of a river rat. You love running the river. You love getting in that dirty water. Is that how that kind of sets up for you with being the dirty water and kind of those canals and all that?
Yeah, I believe so. I love anytime I can fish in the current and on the Sabine River, regardless of what's going on, unless we're at slack tide, we have some kind of current moving around. You know what I mean? But, that's one of them places you can just go fish shallow, live with a flipping rod in your hand, a spinnerbait, square bill, just, all that shallow water techniques are going to come into play there. And what else could I ask for?
Yeah, exactly. And, with you running an aluminum boat this year too, and, I've seen more and more guys. It seems like you're seeing more and more on all different tours switching more to the aluminum boat deal. And that's really great in those kind of waters. And in the water and the lake you just fished, you know what I mean? With the high water and kind of rocky and, you're able to get them boats up here. You ain't worried about tearing them up as bad as you would a fiberglass. Is that some of the reason why you went? I mean, I know, there's sponsor deals and all that, but is there a reason that, you kind of went towards them aluminum boat series for getting up in them tight areas?
I think that's exactly why. I've always been known as a shallow water guy, going back as far as I can go in the creeks, the ditches, the drains, over the stumps, over the rocks. And I think for me, the biggest draw was that I could go as far as I used to, but now I could go even further. You know what I mean? I could fish the way I wanted to fish. I didn't have to worry about destroying my boat. You know what I mean? I mean, every year I was doing a couple $1,000 worth of fiberglass repair to the bottom of my boat. Well, nowadays I don't have to worry about that. You know what I mean? What it does for me is allows me to fish in my comfort zone, fish exactly the way I want without having to worry about tearing my boat up. And then when I have to make that adjustment and go out there and get on the big waters, and fish offshore, I can do that also. So, just because I have an aluminum boat, I've definitely not sacrificed anything.
Yeah, and in the way the technology has come now with aluminum boats, I know my dad's got a Crestliner, and hitting rough water and all that, it's back in the day, like your trackers and all that, when they were really coming out good with the aluminum boats, kind of like a bass boat, it was rough rides and wet, and all that. But these boats, the technology has gotten so much better that they about ride like a fiberglass boat. Now you get into some stuff, it's kind of it might hit a little harder or be a little different than fiberglass, but other than that, aluminum boats have come a long way.
I think that's where Express Boats sets itself apart from other aluminum boat companies. And look, I've been fishing out of aluminum boats my whole life. I'm a tremendous, I love the waterfowl hunt. So I spend a lot of time in an aluminum flat bottom boat. So I know what it's like to get your brains beat out. Okay. That Express, like I said, it sets itself apart from the other manufacturers because it has a hyperlift hull under it. In theory, it is a padded hull design. So if you were to flip a glass boat over on an Express with the hyperlift hull under it, you couldn't tell any difference. I mean, they both would have a padded hull. You know, I mean, you'd be hard pressed to tell.
Mm-hmm.
And I would almost guarantee you, if I put you in the boat and blindfolded you and took you for a ride, you wouldn't be able to tell that you was in an aluminum boat.
Yeah. And the way they handle too, you know what I mean? Like they've gotten better just turns. I know, some of the older boats, it kind of skip a little bit. It almost feel like you're slinging a rock across the water.
This boat actually makes you feel like a kid again. Almost makes you feel like you're driving a little sports car or a little go-kart. You know what I mean? The way it handles and makes those turns. And it's very responsive on the big motor and on the trolling motor as well.
Yeah, exactly. Let's kind of get into, before we cover your win, let's talk a little bit about going into this season. I know last year everybody come off COVID. The season was kind of crazy and adjusting, and there's a lot of fall fishing going on. But going into this year, was this lake like number one on your radar, or was there a particular lake on your radar that you were really looking forward to this year? Was this the one?
I typically, for me, I don't get caught up in all that. Like, oh man, I know I'm going to do good when I get here. I think in years past when I've tried to do that or look forward to an event, those are some of my worst events. I think for me, and it showed this week, is if I don't get all, worked up or looking forward to an event, I want to be the guy that shows up and fishes the conditions. And I mean, the conditions went 180 degrees from practice till the first day of the event. So, like I said, I typically don't get all caught up on looking forward to an event. I try to get to every event and fish the conditions. And also, I hate getting hung up on history, places we've been in the past. I'm simply one of them guys that typically try to get there and try to fish exactly what's going on.
Yeah, and that's really hard to do, especially, you guys, y'all fished a lot of different bodies of water, and y'all fish a lot of the same bodies of water each year. I mean, there's some mix-ups and all that and different, but y'all hit some of these bodies of water each year. And, I mean, how do you go into that and not fish history? Because I know it's tough. Now, if you hit it at different times of the year, it makes it a little bit better, but let's say y'all hit them the same time of the years, and how do you not go in and fish history? Because it's really tough to do that.
It is, and I think, and you hit the nail on the head there. If we're there at the same exact time of the year, you'd almost be a fool not to go back and check the areas you caught them in before. But with that being said, just because you caught them there last year, don't mean they're going to be there this year. You know what I mean? God give them fins and tails so they can swim wherever they want. But yeah, you almost got, if it's the same time of year, you almost got to go and check it just to make sure.
Yeah.
Because you definitely don't want to leave any rocks unturned.
That's exactly right. So let's kind of get into the tournament now. Let's get into practice. I mean, like I say, it threw y'all a curveball for sure. But I mean, as fishermen, you see rain's coming. You know what I mean? You're always checking the weather. You're seeing what the conditions are in the next several days ahead. When going now, granted, you can't ever predict the amount of rainfall you're going to get in all that. You just know heavy rains are coming. Looking into that, when you practice, did you practice for like, hey, this could be high water, or did you just kind of go in and fish and then like all of a sudden you're like, crap, man, the water's really really getting up here? I mean, how did you take from practice and turn it into what you did for the tournament?
Well, it's hard to prepare for what happened because it was crazy what happened there. But when practice started, I believe Lake Pickwick was about a foot below winter pool, and I'm thinking that that's somewhere around 6 or 7 foot low. I've been on Pickwick quite a few times in the spring, and I've never seen it as low as it had been. I've seen things that I've been running over for years that I can't believe I haven't destroyed my boat in the past. But as you said, we have big storms coming in, and first day of the event got canceled because of high water and high winds. And thank God they didn't cancel the event and we got to go, but we also had a second day that got canceled. It was basically a day for bass and the TVA to determine how high was the water going to go. Was the launch facility there where we were going out of, was it going to go underwater? So we took one more day and just let the river settle down, and thank God it didn't rise anymore. It got stable. All the debris was gone, and we got to fish the event. Well, my main game plan was to fish in that Kroger Island area. That's one of the most popular places on the lake. It's where all the grass is. And my main game plan was to fish out in the grass flats on the high spots, 2 to 3 foot deep, fish isolated wood and little gravel bars and weed edges and things like that was my initial plan. Well, when all this started going on, I said to myself, man, these fish have just got to, when they get pushed off them flats, where are they going to go? And for me, there was 2 choices. There was the backside of the island, which had big giant laydowns on it that were completely dry in practice. And then the mainland side of the flats is where all the docks were. So first morning of the event, I roll around behind the island, and, the trees that were dry in practice now had 4 or 5 foot of water on them. So I was very fortunate that the very first tree I pulled up to, I got a bite on that black and blue jig, and I missed that fish. The second tree I pulled up to, I caught a, I don't know, 3 or 4 pound, really good, solid keeper fish. And them 2 bites right there give me confidence just to put my head down and keep running up through that cover. And before I know it, I had a limit fairly quickly. And then from there, I just started bouncing around and fishing more shallow cover, and was very fortunate to get a couple really good bites that day and, put me over 20 pounds.
Yeah. Now let's talk about it, because they were talking about floating a jig on there. Let's talk a little bit about that. Is that just kind of getting it into current and letting it do its thing, or were you still pinpointing targets? You know what I mean, with the water getting up there like that?
That's something that I learned how to do years ago on the Ohio River. On the Ohio River, I actually use a 5/16 ounce jig, which is, a little lighter than that 3/8. But the whole key to this is not using a jig that's so heavy that it'll actually just go straight to the bottom and penetrate through that cover. What I like to do is use that 3/8 ounce of a jig. And the other key to that is using 20-pound test fluorocarbon. I was throwing it on Seagar and VizX 20-pound. That's like the perfect combination to let that jig float naturally through the cover with the current. Those bass are in those trees to get out of that current. They're using them as ambush points. And if you can let that jig float through there with that current, I mean, it's as natural as it's going to get. And to me, I feel like when you can present your bait to those fish, you're going to get a lot more bites. And to me, you're going to get those bigger bites.
Now, are you trying to go with a bigger trailer when you do that as well, to kind of keep it still that slow fall, or do you kind of go with a smaller trailer, or how do you determine that when it?
I would go with like, I would say a medium-sized trailer. If you go too small, it's going to fall too fast. If you go too big, it's going to fall too slow. So there's got to be that happy medium there. You still want to be able to make good contact with the bottom and good contact with the cover, but you don't want to have to try to force that jig through the cover. You just want to let that current naturally flow it through there, and that's why you go with the 3/8. That's
good information. I enjoyed watching that segment on Bassmasters when they were talking about that. It was just it's pretty neat, because I fish the James River a lot, and when I throw a jig, a lot of times I'm trying to throw something a little heavier because I wanted to get down there and get down there quick, and I can work it around the bottoms. But now you kind of think about it, it is more natural. You know what I mean? Them smallmouth on the river, they hit something when it's coming by them. And them bass are the same way on them river systems. When they live in the current, that's what they're looking for, something natural, something that just comes by them because they get behind those little eddies and current breaks and all that. So, yeah, that was pretty cool. I was like, man, I've been thinking about this all wrong the whole time I've been doing this. So, but
well, I think we forget a lot of times that in them ends of those trees, when they got 3 to 5 foot of water on them, a lot of times those fish will suspend out in the ends of those treetops. They're not necessarily on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's a fish that a lot of guys miss, are those fish that actually suspend in the ends of those treetops.
Now, let's talk a little bit about with the water coming up like it did. For a lot of people that don't know, and me, sometimes I'm like that too, because I don't go digging into those trees yet right off. Do you think that once that water comes up quick, those bass will move up quickly into that stuff, or do you think it takes a little while for them to move up into that cover once that water initially comes up?
Well, the river came up pretty much overnight on us. You know what I mean? Would have been Wednesday night into Thursday night. So we canceled Thursday, and we canceled Friday. So we got back out there Saturday morning, and I was actually shocked at I was actually shocked at how fast those fish moved up into those trees. Like I said, I was very fortunate to land on that group of fish right out of the gate. But another thing that keyed me in was there was a little patch of reeds on that island that was about as big as my boat. And it didn't have but about 1.5 feet of water on it. And the very first morning, my first pitch to those reeds, I had a decent keeper on and she came off. My next pitch to those reeds, I caught a 5-pounder. And my third pitch to those reeds, I caught another really decent keeper. And that was my clue that, man, these fish have already made their move way shallow. So that just goes to show you don't ever think just because the water's come up that those fish didn't go with it. And, typically for me as a rule of thumb, you talk about the James River and tidal waters. On the tidal waters, man, as soon as it comes up, they go with it. As soon as it goes down, they go back out with it. So as a general rule of thumb, even though you're on a river system, typically when that water comes up, they'll go with it. And then when it starts to fall, they'll go right back out with it. So, like I said, I was shocked that they went as fast as they did. Typically, it seems like it takes a couple days, which in all actuality, that's exactly what happened. We had a couple days for those fish to adjust to it, and that's exactly what happened.
Now, was that area that you were catching them all? I mean, did you have did you work that same area the whole time, or did you kind of make milk runs with it? Did you fish it and then kind of float down and come back and start all over again, or did you just keep hitting key spots?
Well, the very first day, I started on the island, and like I said, I caught a limit off of there. That little reed deal clued me in that there may be some fish in the reeds. So about midday, I ran around and started fishing pockets that had reeds on them, and actually caught 2 5-pounders doing that the first day. And then second day was about a repeat of the first day, except for every single thing I weighed in, except for one, came off the island that day. I didn't get hardly any reed bites that day, except for one reed bite that I weighed in. I had a little over 23.5 pounds. And then the third day for me was almost an exact repeat again. Every single thing I weighed in come off the back of that island. But I didn't get any big bites on the third day. They were all 3.5 pounders, 17.5 pounds worth. It didn't matter where I went on the third day. I caught a 3.5 pounder. I was just void of those big bites. And then on the fourth day, when I came to that island and noticed that the water had dropped almost close to 2 feet, and a lot of the cover that I was catching my fish on was dry. So I knew that it was time for a change. And I just started running cover that had deeper water on it, 4 or 5 foot of water left on it. And that was docks and bluff swings and, big trees that were sitting in those areas. And I was fortunate enough to get 4 or 5 really good, decent keeper bites. And, to catch that one big 8-pounder was definitely the fish that did it for me.
Dude, I've watched that video. I don't know how many times you catching that big fish. And in your mind, when you caught that fish, did you know that the door was slammed in, or was you riding back? Was you still like, holy crap, somebody else could have really caught him today?
I think that, I know for sure that I didn't think I had a shot. Pickwick is fishing so good right now, and there's 25 and 27-pound sacks swimming all over out there. And I'll be honest with you, I thought I needed one more 4-pound bite to have a shot, because I truly believed that I had a limit of 2.5 pounders in my live well, and then that one big one. And then right at the end of the day, I made a call. I caught a fish that was a legit 3-pounder. When I had it in my hand, I knew it was a 3-pounder, and I got in the box and I got my littlest fish out, and I made sure before I threw him back that he was my little guy. So I let him go, and I started looking at those other fish in the live one. I'm thinking, man, these fish are short and fat. Anywhere else in the country, they would have been 2.5 pounders, but it ended up they were all 3-pounders, and I had no idea until I started really looking at them. And I still at that point didn't think I had a shot. And then when I got back to the ramp, I seen my wife and kids come walking down the dock, and I could tell that they'd been all crying. And I thought, you know what? They're crying for some reason. Maybe I do have a chance. And then my practice partner, Matt Herron, he told me that if I had a chance to win, he'd still be there when I come in. And sure enough, there he is. So now I got 2 signs that tell me I might have a shot. Well, they took my fish and they put them in 2 separate bags. We put 4 in one bag and we put that big one in another bag because she was so long that we just didn't want to cram everything up in there. So I never truly got to feel the weight of my fish in one bag together. And right before I went up on stage, they combined my bass into one bag, and I dunked it down in the tank. And when I lifted it up out of the water to check the weight of it, I thought, oh my goodness, this thing feels like I got 20 pounds in here. And, at that point, we all knew I needed 18-2 to win. And here I am. I got this bag in my hand, and I'm saying, oh my goodness, I got 20 pounds in here. Somebody's got to get me up here on the stage before I puke in this tank back here.
Man, it was seeing your family up there. You guys have always been real tight knit, and having your kids there to be there for it. Because I don't know if they travel with you the whole, with COVID and homeschooling, and I don't know if they travel with you all the time now. But I know some guys they don't have the luxury of having their family there. So to have everybody there for you during this special occasion, you know what I mean? I bet you, and just seeing how emotional you got with it, man, that's just awesome. I love seeing that because it's hard, man. It is hard to get a win in that level of fishing.
It is, without a doubt. I'm very fortunate that my family gets to travel with me all over the country. We camp. The kids are homeschooled. Jennifer does a phenomenal job here. With the behind the scenes things that let me go out there and concentrate on my job. So, it just wasn't a win for me. It was a win for the whole team here because, they go through all the sacrifices and all the struggles and, they go through it with me. So it's a huge win. Like I said, not only for me, but for all of us. And, the same for all my partners that have been with me from day one. It's just huge for everybody. It was a phenomenal week, and I still don't know how to put it into words.
Yeah. It was great to watch, and when the big change happened with MLF and Bass and losing a lot of guys, and people were like, well, for the guys that stayed, it might be a little bit easier for them. And I'm telling guys, look, there's a lot of people that's coming in this sport now, in the Elite Series that you never really heard about because they never had the opportunity, and now you're seeing it. And like you say, guys that are still doing this every day, that's been doing it for years, like you and several other guys that are on the tour. It's still no easy game whatsoever. All them guys are there because they're good.
That's exactly what this split did. Is it let guys that may have never had an opportunity to live their dream come over. And look, I'm telling you right now, the future of the sport is here right now. You see guys like Patrick Walters and guys like that are true sticks that are going to be the face of this sport in the future. You know what I mean? And I'm going to be honest with you, man, it's not getting any easier. Just because everyone wants to say that, all the big names are gone. Well, you're looking at all the big names that are coming.
Yeah.
In the next 10 years, every one of them are going to be household names. And, their drive and their passion for the sport is so much that they're all sticks, man. And like I said, it's not getting any easier. I'm just looking forward to just being able to stay out here and compete with these guys.
Yeah. And like I say, I've always followed you. I've liked just the way you fish kind of matches like the way me and guys with one objective and all that love to fish. We're river rats too. We love going up the rivers and we go to Bugs Island, we're shooting up a river. We go to Smith Mountain Lake, we're shooting up a river. That's just what we do. And the way you fish is kind of the way we are too. So it's always fun to watch and learn new things. But to see you doing well and all that, it's great to see it. And we're just really happy for you for getting your win. Kind of looking into the rest of this season. I know you say you don't try to look at events and be like, well, I think I'm gonna do really good here and this and that. But speaking of that, is there any lake that you're just really excited to get to this year and fish?
I pretty much, like I said before, man, I get excited about all of them.
Yeah.
But there's truly not one right now that's kind of jumping out at me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The schedule sets up it has set up now really well, with the Sabine River and Neely Henry and Gunnersville and Lake Fork. I mean, there's a lot of events there where the potential to catch big sacks up shallow are still there. I think the only one that may not have that opportunity is going to be the Classic here at Ray Roberts, but you never know. It's chilly here today. It's going to be chilly here the next couple of days. I think it's going to go down into the 30s one night here while I'm here. So it's still staying cold. So cross my fingers. You never know. Maybe some of those big fish will stay up, and this Classic won't be one offshore.
Yeah. That's I really hate that they had to change that, because, I mean, it had that. I mean, granted, that lake still has the opportunity to be a slugfest, you know what I mean, and have some big fish brought in. But
absolutely. You know what, though? The Classic, to me, is all about the fans and the expo, when I feel like Bass made the exact right call they needed to make to make sure that we have that expo for the fans, because at the end of the day, man, that's what it's all about.
Oh, exactly. It's nothing like going into the arena when you guys are coming in to weigh in. And how many people are just so excited and cheering for when every person comes in to weigh fish across the board. You know what I mean? There's no booing. It's like they're excited for everybody. Now, and that's the one thing that Bass has done a really good job at is, getting the fans interactive with the anglers and seeing you guys, unfortunately some that don't make the Classic are at the expos. And then if you don't make the cut, you're at the expos. And granted, most of you guys, that's not where you want to be at. You want to be out there on the last day. But Bass does a really good job of getting the fans an opportunity to meet you guys and talk one-on-one. And I think I commend them on that. They've done really well with it. And I think the change to make it later was a great call.
Yeah, I believe so as well. Like I said, that expo is very important. So without it, we don't have a Classic.
That's right. That's exactly right. Well, Bill, man, I really appreciate you coming on with us tonight, man, and just kind of talking about your win. I don't want to hold you up too much more. I know you guys can get ready for practice and put some time in on the water. But I'd really like to congratulate you again for your win and talking a little bit about how you caught those fish. And like I say, looking forward to seeing how you do the rest of this year.
Absolutely, buddy. Like I said, I can't thank you enough for having me on. And you're exactly right, man. It was an amazing week. And I look forward to the day when I can do it again. I hope it don't take as long this time.
I hope not either, man. Hopefully with this momentum you got, it won't be too far away now.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens.
All right, Bill. You have a good one, man, and have a safe trip.
All right, buddy. You have a good night.
Thank you. Bye. All right. I like Bill. I met Bill when they came to Smith Mountain Lake years ago during practice, and he took the time when he was pulling the boat out to talk with me, and we talked fishing and all that, and just being able to – that's like I'm talking about with the fans and interaction, because, some of these guys will go to the lake, and when they're pulling out in the afternoon, you can go up there and chit-chat with some of them. Some of them are in a rush to get out because they got things to take care of their boat and tackle or, whatever they're doing back at home. But I had the opportunity to meet Bill, and like I say, it was a great experience. And every time I met him at the Classic, really friendly guy, always willing to talk and try to encourage the knowledge of fishing and all that. So, but Chris, we got anybody? What's everybody saying tonight, man?
Just congratulating Bill on his victory and just hanging out.
Hanging out.
Yeah.
Well, guys, if you're just tuning in with us, we're going to be having KJ Queen on next here in just a little while. We got a little bit longer. I'm going to see if I can message him and see if he's about ready to come on here in just a little bit. Chris, I did get you his number, right?
Yeah, I got it in.
Okay. But before we get him on, we are going to be doing, let's share it one more time, Chris. We're going to be doing a giveaway with RPT Custom Baits.
All right.
At the end of our interview with KJ, we're going to be doing that giveaway, or either after our next topic after that. I'm not real sure. You know what? I'm going to go over that one topic real quick before we get KJ on.
The college thing?
Yeah, the college thing. I just want to see what everybody's thoughts are on what's going on with Auburn. I mean, if you haven't heard, like I say, you can go on Wired to Fish. They did a great article on it. You also have Chad Hoover. He did a video on YouTube about it, talking about it. And, look, I am not the kind of person to get on here and get into politics. And I'm not. It's not going to happen. But there's some things that just kind of cross me funny, and you just kind of look back and sit back and be like, wow, did that really happen? what is different about this? But if you haven't tuned in or caught the news or read the article, actually several anglers. I think the president of the Auburn fishing team and the treasurer. It sounded like the treasurer or what. I don't know all the details of it, and I can't remember all the details of it. But so don't hold me to it if I say something totally wrong here. But what it looks like now, this was their third strike, and I'm kind of like Chad Hoover. Rules are rules, and they're some people say rules are meant to be broke. No. When it comes to stuff like that, you know the rules. You know what's about to happen. You know the consequences if you do break the rules. But when you sit back and look at some things in college and people are playing sports right now, you look at high school. Right now, our football season's kicking off around here.
Oh, yeah.
So, there's guys playing football. There's guys playing basketball. There's guys playing baseball. There's a lot going on now, and people are trying to get back to some kind of normal life after COVID, And as fishermen, for the most part, life really didn't change much for us, except if you lived in Michigan or something like that where it was hard to get on the water.
Yeah.
But for the most part, the fishing industry boomed through COVID because that's what a lot of people had to do to get out and do stuff, whether fishing off a bank, bass fishing in a kayak or a boat you look at the boat sales. The boat sales went through the roof. Camper sales went through the roof. You can't hardly get daggone golf frisbees. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about, Chris? Those little
Disc golf?
Yeah, disc golf.
Yeah.
It's hard to get a lot of this stuff. Golf clubs, bicycles. I don't know how it is now with some of that, but there for a while you could not get it. So people are out fishing. Now, the tournament scene has been going. Bass has been throwing tournaments. You got FLW, or you call it MLF or Major League. I don't know how they call it now. With the BFLs, you're pretty much by yourself on the water, or you have a co-angler. But anyways, the guys from Auburn ended up getting suspended for the whole year for going to a fishing tournament, And my wife was kind of reading over this thing and was talking about it too, because I'm one of them people that I can read something, I can't retain it, So I'll get her to read it sometimes so I can understand it. And she was sitting there talking about it, and now some of the rules is you can't not be wearing a jersey out doing any kind of sports activities and promoting it on Facebook and this and that. But it's so much to it. But they're fishing a tournament. Like there's several colleges that were fishing events, but yet they couldn't fish, so they suspended them. Now I'm like Chad Hoover on this. They suspended him for a year for fishing a tournament. Yes. Was it a third offense? Yes. So did they know what was going to happen? I don't know. I don't know if they were brought into the office, but look, man, we catch you fishing a tournament one more time, you're suspended. But I don't understand what is the difference in fishing a bass event, or if they said, you know what, all right, well, it's the weekend, let's go out and go fishing. You know what I mean? What's the difference there? And like I say, I'm not trying to get too fired up about this, but it really does tick me off a little bit because I'm like, these dudes are fishing. A lot of these people have gone to Auburn just to join their fishing team because you look at Jordan Lee and Matt Lee. There's several other guys, but they're the main ones that stick out to my head just because I remember all that deal when college fishing was getting big and they were qualifying for the elites or qualifying to make the classic and all that. So, that's why that sticks out with me. And, we're going to have KJ on here in just a little while. I mean, he went to, I think it was Bethel. I think that's what it was. Don't hold me to it. I have to look back up. I think it was Bethel. But anyways, they had their college fishing team, so. But I'm just looking at this, and I'm like, man, this is crazy. This is nuts that these kids are getting suspended for a whole year when some of these football players go in and get in trouble outside of, something crazy, going to jail kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they still on the football team. So, is now you're kind of like, back in high school, I don't know if you ever really paid much attention or was even thinking about it. But back in high school, you had your boosters. You know what I mean? So some of these parents, and I don't say this happens in all school, but most people probably know what I'm talking about. Some of these parents they'd boost a lot of money into the school, and their kids got some better spots. I mean, I've seen kids that had spots, and granted, look, I didn't play really sports in high school, so before people think that, I'm just upset because I didn't get a position. I didn't play. I fished. That's what me and James did. We fished. I'm upset they didn't have a fishing team when I was in high school, but I don't understand, like, with I don't know if it's something with that, where maybe where football and all these other sports bring in more money, that they say, oh, well, we're just going to slap this football player on the hand, this baseball player on the hand, and get him back in because he's really good and we really need him. But, the fishing side, it's like they don't really care, but I don't think they actually realize how much exposure they get from it.
Yeah.
Well, would you say we got a question, Chris?
Oh, no, this is comments.
What we got?
BJ says water around here is a lot less crowded. And Chris says basically it's about money. Like
That's
you're saying.
Yeah. I think that's a lot of it. I think a lot of it's money.
Yeah. Rudy said he drove 7 hours to buy his first bona fide last year because the demand was so high.
Yeah. Well, dude, I talked to Bob. That's one I didn't say in the show was Bob's Up the Creek Outfitters. I'm sorry about that, Bob, earlier.
Yeah, well, it's up on the screen.
Yeah.
It's been cycling through.
Yeah.
So.
But Bob's Up the Creek Outfitters sponsors us. And I've been talking with Bob, and he gets people all the way from Indiana to come buy kayaks. You know what I mean? I don't know what particular brand, but, whether it be Bonafide, Native, or whatever, Vibe, and all them other ones that he carries. But, he's had people come from all the way down there from India.
Oh, that's a long way.
Indiana to pick up a boat. So, but like I say, getting back to the college thing, man, I don't know. I ain't trying to get, like, political about none of it. It just kind of irks me a little bit, man. Like, these kids are out here fishing. They're here trying to make a living. A lot of guys, and I say a lot, some of the guys that's on the elites have come from college fishing and made it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And these guys are taking other things in college, so if things don't work out, they have a backup plan, which is excellent. And if my kids ever wanted to try to go pro in fishing, that's what I would make them do, is try to work through the high school ranks and into the college. But I'm going to tell you, this one last thing is a particular college that I know of around in this location. I had a good friend of mine that fished for them, and I know they ended up winning a lot of money here at Smith Mountain Lake, a good check. You know what I mean? And that money was written to the college, so that team did not even get a drop of that. It actually went back into like their booster thing. That team was actually funding themselves mainly. Sponsored dollars and funding themselves, with team dues and stuff like that, I guess. So they didn't even get the money back from all that they won, which is craziness to me. Something got slipped up in the system. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they never even tried to make it right.
Chris said they had a girl cheat on a test, kicked off the softball team, dad donated, and then she was back on.
Oh, yeah, dude. I mean, that's how it happens. I mean, I've seen back in the years when I was in high school and know of other schools where I knew one person that was really good at basketball, did great in it, but I knew somebody else that wasn't so great, but their parents dumped a lot of money into the boosters, and they ended up getting on a team, So it's that's what I'm kind of wondering if it is. You know what I mean? I
don't think the fishing is not NCAA sanctioned, no way, right?
I don't know. I don't know how they do that. You know what I mean? Like, you don't really see that advertised on.
Yeah, I don't think it is.
No, and I just think, but I mean, they was talking about how much money Auburn brings in. They did a cool little video. You need to go check out Auburn's fishing team video. I don't know how you look it up on YouTube, but Chad Hoover, actually, if you go on Chad Hoover's YouTube channel and look at his latest video, he's supposed to have a link in the bottom to that. And man, they do such a phenomenal job. But you look at all the wraps that they put on their boats. That's sponsors, man. That's sponsor dollars. And that's Auburn all across the side of it, Them guys are driving thousands of miles a year with Auburn all down the side of it, Now, it always does get me when I see a bunch of college kids with big old bass boats like Rangers and all that. And I'm like, man, I was in my late 20s riding around an old Skeeter.
Oh, yeah.
And, they had my other Skeeter, but it still wasn't a new Ranger, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not all of them are like that. Some of these kids don't have the best of boats, but they get out there and have a boat to go fishing with. So, but it does always get me. I'm like, man, they got a nice truck and a boat. How do they do that and go to college? I mean, I know you was in school, Chris. I mean, Money wasn't that easy in college.
No.
Not for that kind of toy. So.
No.
But anyways, I like I say, I won't be done ranting and raving about it. But I was just curious what you guys thought. You know, like, it just didn't make a lot of sense to me. It kind of makes you mad. It really does, because you're like, you know, it's not fair, shall I say. But in a way, I mean, if they already been penalized 2 or 3 other times, you know, did they know it was coming? Or was there something that they didn't know about, or what? I don't know. I don't know about it. But other than that, let me go ahead and message KJ and then see if he is about ready to come on. And then we'll get him on. We're going to talk about his college fishing, and then maybe we'll ask him about it. We'll see. I don't know. He might not want to touch base on it, but we'll see.
We'll find out.
Let's see. Send him a text message and all. Before we get him on, guys, please, if you are just joining us, please hit the like button. If you're on YouTube and all that, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. We want to share this. We want to get this out there. So KJ said he's ready, Chris, if you want to go ahead and call him up. This is going to be audio only, guys. All right.
We don't get that sweet music with this.
Oh, man. That sucks, don't it? Hey, KJ,
Hello?
we got you, buddy?
Yes, sir.
How you doing tonight, man?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Oh, not too bad. Hey, man, I appreciate you coming on with us tonight. I know y'all are always busy. You got a lot going on. But I've been looking at your season, and I'm like, man, we got to have this guy on. You know, we got to talk to him. You got an incredible path that you've taken to get to where you're at right now. So I want to get you on and talk to you a little bit, man. But how are you doing right now? I mean, where are y'all at right now?
Doing well. I'm here in North Carolina at the moment, but I'm just hanging out here and just waiting to go to Sabine River. That's where we head to next, down in Texas, and head out here 1st of April. So
now,
trying to get everything.
What's your experience on Sabine? Is this going to be your first time, or have you had any chance to get out and run it?
Man, it's going to be definitely my first time on the water. I've never fished down. I fished a few tidal reservoirs, the Upper Bay and the Potomac, but I've never fished any southern tidal reservoirs. So it's definitely going to be a new mix for me, no doubt.
Now, how are you on when it comes to like tidal systems? Like I said, I know you fished the northern ones. Did you figure it out okay, or was it kind of it's a learning curve?
It's definitely a learning curve. I'm not very, very experienced with it, but I mean, I've done it a little bit. I've tried to learn the tides and catch fish at different times and follow that tide, and I've caught some fish doing that. So I'm hoping I can run that same pattern and do the same type of style at the Sabine. I'm hoping that them fish are kind of spawned out a little bit more and kind of wanting to start feeding back up and relating to that river more.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how you do, and how I love watching the Sabine River tournament. I've always loved it. I don't know what it is about it. I fish the upper part of James River, so it's not tidal there. It's fast water, big rocks, big smallmouth. But it's something about Sabine River. I love watching elites go there and fish. I don't know what it's real shallow water. It's a grind. I think that's why I like it. I like watching grind tournaments. I love watching Slugfest, but catch, a lot of times.
It shows who can hang it out and grind it out and get 5 good quality bites.
Yeah,
It takes a lot of the luck out of the tournament. Somebody might just get a random lucky big one or whatnot. You got to consistently catch solid good fish for 4 consecutive days.
Exactly right. And I think for most weekend anglers, for the most part, that's how it is. You know what I mean? You don't get a lot of that time to go find them big. Some of your locals
Correct.
do, but for the most part, not everybody has that opportunity to stay on them big fish like that, and it's always a grinder for a lot of weekend guys. So I think you can relate a little bit more. But before we get into your tournament season right now, I kind of want to do a history of KJ, and how you got into fishing. What got you into the point before you got into college fishing?
Me and my sister, actually. Me and my sister and my dad. My dad was my high school boat captain. And me and my sister, she was my partner. We teamed up and did high school fishing together. We fished our state tournament. We ended up winning our state tournament, and we went to a regional tournament. We won a regional and went to nationals, and we ended up finishing 7th in nationals. Well, the next year, my sister, she actually graduated, and she went to Bethel on a fishing scholarship because at the World Finals, me and her, we fished the World Finals 2 years in a row. And Gary Mason, which is the head coach for Bethel University, was at the World Finals, and we finished third 2 years in a row. And Gary seen her at the final, seen me there, and he talked to us, and he really wanted us there the first year. He talked to us, and the second year he really hopped on it, and he talked my sister into it. She's actually going to school at East Carolina University, and she actually transferred everything and switched it and went to Bethel. And the next year, me and my high school partner Tyler Black, we went and fished our state tournament. We won it, and then we went to our regional and we won it, and then we went to nationals at Grand Lake, and we ended up actually winning the national championship at Grand Lake. And that kind of really sparked it and got me fired up. And then the next year I went on and went to Bethel University and then started my fishing college career after that.
Now, kind of going into your career and what you picked for your classes. I mean, what was there a reason? Some of the things that you picked to get a degree in, was there something to help with your fishing, or is that stuff that you just like, if this don't work out, this is what I'm going to do?
Well, definitely. Me and my dad, we actually run our own company called Queen Tackle,
mm-hmm.
and me and him started it just as I was entering college, and I've been working on it for the last 3 or 4 years, trying to grow our company and get it started. And I went into school and I got a business management degree to help run my fishing business, and I also took speech classes and everything else while I was in school to help with talking on stage and everything of that nature. But mainly just took my business classes so I could focus on fishing and focus on, the business aspect side of it and part of fishing as well.
Now let's talk about Queen Tackle, because I wanted to go over that a little bit and talk about what all y'all do and what got y'all. And guys on YouTube and all that, I'm going to try to put a link in the bottom of your to your website and all that, so you guys can check out their business. So, but what all do y'all do? What all do y'all make at Queen Tackle?
So we deal in all tungsten products, and so what we deal in, we have a tungsten hammerhead jig, which is basically like our ledge fishing jig, and it has a built-in rattle inside of the head of it, a little bit beefier hook, a 6/0 flipping hook in it, and then we have our 3/8 half and 3/4 ounce swim jigs, which we designed for coming through grass, coming through wood, a little bit more relaxed weed guard with a 5/0 swim jig hook, a little bit lighter hook so you can pull a hook into them. We also designed a flipping jig as well, a tungsten flipping jig that has a 4/0 flipping hook in it and has the little bit stiffer weed guard, meant for fishing a little bit heavier cover, more brush. We also do tungsten swing heads. We do, which is one of our really cool products, is actually called our Hammer Shake. And it's a tungsten rattle and shaky head. So it's a tungsten shaky head that has a rattle built inside the head of it. And man, that's one of our best products, no doubt. For if you're wanting to drag a worm on the bottom, it's hard to beat, no doubt.
Definitely gonna have to check that out.
My favorite bed fishing bait.
Yeah,
for sure. So.
And see, I do a lot of night fishing during the summer, so I love anything that kind of got some rattle to it. You know what I mean, like a jig.
Definitely.
So I think that
one of our really cool products that we've also come out with is called the Switchblade. And what the Switchblade does is we have it in black mirror, gold, and silver. And there's 2 tabs on the bottom of it, and you can pull the 2 tabs down. There's a bar that swings out, and you can put whatever bait that you want on that Switchblade and basically make it dance, make it vibrate. So I can take, and if they're eating a certain color swim jig, I can put that certain color swim jig on there, and then I got that vibrating color in that, or vibrating jig in that certain color.
Oh,
Say
wow.
if I want to put it on a spinnerbait and switch it up and make it have a little bit different action to my spinnerbait, vibrate, have a different profile to it, I can do it same thing as well. If I want to switch it up and put it on an underspin or a swim bait, the list goes on what you can do with it. And that's one of our really cool products is the Queen Tackle Switchblade.
Oh, that's pretty sweet. And where can they find? Is it just queentackle.com or?
Yes, sir. Queentackle.com, and you can actually use all caps KJQueen20 and get 20% off on our website.
Oh, sweet. Okay. Well, yeah, I'll try to put that into the link down at the bottom there too.
I appreciate it.
For that, yeah. But so kind of getting into the tackle business, what got y'all? What sparked that? I mean, was it just like I need to make some fishing tackle, for yourselves, or what got it going?
So a few years ago, me and Dad, there was a tungsten jig bite that got started here at Lake Norman, and guys here at Lake Norman, they go super into depth and detail on tackle, like, so, trim the skirt a little bit sideways over here, and because of the clear waters, whatever little advantage you can get, you got to take it and jump on it. Well, there was a tungsten jig bite that got fired up a few years back, and the jigs that were coming out, the tungsten jigs at the time had little bitty hooks in them, and you could catch fish on them, but it wasn't, you could lose a quarter or half of the fish that would bite it. So me and Dad was like, hey, why don't we design a jig? Because Lake Norman, North Carolina's jig fishing around here is huge. Everybody skips a jig underneath the dock. So we're like, why don't we design a jig that is the best jig on the market that's tungsten? So we went in, we designed, all of our flipping jigs, our swim jigs, and our hammerheads. All of our jigs are designed with the right hook for the right type of bait, the right profile, the right presentation. Me and my dad, he's been fishing for 40 some years now. And, you always see, if you have a skirted jig that's not hand tied or wire tied, ours is, or hand tied, and you try to skip that jig underneath the dock, that jig skirt will fall down. Yeah. And, you can't have that jig skirt falling down when you're trying to make a key cast. You got to be accurate and be hitting 100% of the time on where you want to put that jig. So, you take all the little aspects out of it. Also, one of the cool factors on our jigs, if you take one out of the pack and smell it, it's coffee scented.
Oh,
so when
nice.
that fish comes down, hits that jig, he's not, hitting it. And sometimes you'll have a fish you feel him hit that jig and it'll just thunk it and then never eat it. With our jigs, they go down to it, they hit it, they suck it on in, and they have it in their gut whenever you get done with them.
Yeah.
So,
now that's pretty nice. So y'all been getting that going. Have y'all done anything with iCast or, trying to set up for that? And
we went to iCast 2 years ago. We didn't get to go this last year with the COVID and everything, but that's where we launched our switchblades at 2 years ago.
Man, that's awesome. So how's business been for you? Because I know the fishing industry's been booming, so how things been going for you guys?
It's been great. We're trying to keep product in right now.
Yeah.
People are wanting fishing products. Definitely right now with it turning springtime, everybody's wanting swim jigs, flipping jigs, and switchblades. So, we're pumping out orders and and getting them out there. But just trying to keep up with the tackles, definitely, no doubt.
Oh yeah, and that's across the board in the whole outdoor industry. You know what I mean?
Doubt.
And that's what I try to tell some of our customers, that order mounts, and some guys are really understanding and know that hey, it's just the time we live in right now. And then some people, I blame Amazon 100% for people getting next day delivery because some people just don't get it, man.
Yeah, no doubt.
But let's y'all started up tackle business. I mean, is it just you and your dad still doing it, or y'all have several people helping you out? Because I imagine with it being busy, it's hard to do it just you two.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, whenever I fish, and I fish the elites, and Dad, he's also fishing the opens. We'll be gone. We have a few buddies, Logan Anderson, Adam Parker, and a few of my friends that come over and they part time help out. Get a few orders out here and there. And my grandma actually, I would give her no doubt some credit. She helps us out a bunch. She's a really good. She's a heck of a jig packer, no doubt. Me and her will sit down and we'll pack a bunch of jigs together. So.
Yeah, well, it's good family time too. You know what I mean? You sit
No
there and
doubt.
talk and catch up with family and everything that's going on. So man, that's good. I love seeing businesses like that start. You know what I mean? It's family oriented. It's good friends helping, and it's not one of those you just had a pile load of money to dump into it and you got some big manufacturing company and you guys worked your way into it and built it up and it's still family oriented. So that's awesome, man. I love seeing that. So guys, check out queentackle.com, and then if you want to go back earlier, he gave out the discount code. What was the discount code again?
It's KJ Queen 20.
KJ Queen 20. So you can put that in.
It's all cap.
Yep.
All cap.
And then so all right, now we've talking about that now, and you're in college. How did college go for you? How did Bethel go? And I see that you guys have had some success there. But how did all that work out for you? And then getting into fishing the opens.
Well, I mean, college, man, it was definitely a huge stepping stone, no doubt, for me making it to the Open. With college fishing, the awesome part about it is you get to get experience fishing all across the United States. I haven't been to the Sabine, but I've been to Texas, and that's the reason because of college fishing. I've been to Texas multiple times. The splash tournament at Pickwick. I've had multiple college tournaments on Pickwick Lake. I've fished everywhere across the United States with the college tournament, so I've had a little bit of experience, a little bit of knowledge with it. And I'm hoping that it definitely will help pay off, no doubt. With the college fishing, you get out there too. You can really break down water. That's what was really nice about with fishing with Bethel University. The guys on the team, man, there's so many hammers that fished on Bethel's team. When you get out there on the lake, there'd be 7 or 8 different boats out on the water, and we come back in and some guy talks a little bit of, hey, I did this, and hey, I did that, and I did this, and I did that. And you can kind of break down the lake with multiple boats at one time and kind of work as a team. Now, it's never a, hey, I caught them at this spot right here, you need to go fish here.
Yeah.
It's still definitely some major competition between the teams.
Yeah.
I want to beat my teammates, no doubt, but I want to help my teammates out as much as I possibly can too.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a little fine line between that, but we're definitely teamwork, helping each other out. We could go to a body of water and break it down in a few days and really be on top of it.
That's cool. Yeah, and that's what I was wondering, because, when we fish 6-man and all that with the Federation and everybody come together at the end of practice or each night after practice, like, hey, we did this, and they pull a map out and, I'd catch, if I was catching them, I'd be like, I'm catching them on this or that or stuff like this, but I'd never pointed them out and be like, right here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because you're all there to try to make the state team. And as you guys, you're all there trying to make national championships and
Correct.
all that stuff. So, you got to feed a little bit. You want to see them do good, but you don't want to give them all the juice.
Exactly. You don't want to give it all away, but
yeah.
You never know when that helping hand might come back and toss you a bone here and there and put you on the right path too. So,
yeah, exactly right. So, college life as a bass fisherman, what is it like with, trying to get work done? I mean, can you do a lot while you're on the road, or is it a grind there too?
Well, I actually graduated this last summer.
Yeah.
In 2019, but with doing the college and everything and running the tackle business, it was definitely hard, no doubt. I was on the road and at school the whole time, so it was kind of hard jumping back and forth between the tackle business and school and running here and running there, but managed to work it out.
Yeah. So 2019, was it 19 or 2020 was you're fishing the Opens. You're fishing hardcore. Talk a little bit about that and was you fishing all 3 series trying to make it, or did you find one that you wanted to fish, or how'd that go for you?
Yeah, so the way they had it set up, they had it with an Eastern and a Central. They only had 2 divisions, and they had 4 tournaments in each division. And I ended up fishing all 8 tournaments and to try and make the combined total points. And they take top 4 in the combined, and then they take top 4 in the Eastern, they take top 4 in the Central. And when the points worked out, we fished all year. I held my own in the points decent, and I actually ended up in the total combined in 5th by just a few points.
Yeah.
And barely missed making it in the combined. And I actually thought I was out of it, and then started looking the way it fell, the way it worked down the list. They take the combined first. On the Eastern side, I think I was like either 5th or 6th in the points in the Eastern side. And there was enough guys that already qualified on the Eastern side that it worked down the list and actually qualified through the Eastern division.
So when all that hit, now granted, I know for most of us it's no brainer. Yeah, man, I'm going to do it. But there's a lot more that comes to that decision after it's done. Was it some thinking? was you like, man, I got to really figure out how I'm going to do it, or did you already say, look, I'm doing it no matter what? There's
definitely a little bit of both in that. I definitely had to think about it, but it's been a dream that I've always wanted to do my entire life. So I hopped on board with it, and I wanted to make it happen. So I got to work and started working on trying to get sponsorships, and we didn't have a whole lot of time with making the elites. our last tournament with COVID and how they delayed everything, it was pushed back all the way into to December. So, and our season started up, in February. So I didn't have a ton of time to get a ton of sponsors and get things going. But I hopped on it fast and managed to pick up a few sponsors and join the Elite Series.
Now let's talk about. I pulled up your stats here, and I mean don't take it wrong when I say be green, because you got a lot of fishing experience. You know what I mean? But to be coming into the elites and fishing opens against guys that have been doing this stuff for many years. I mean, you're still a young gun. You know what I mean? And for guys to be doing this, I mean, I'm looking. You got and just in Bassmasters. Now this is opens and all that, but you got 11 total tournaments with 9 times in the money. I mean, that's very impressive. You know what I mean? There's guys that fish a lot of tournaments before they even get placed in the money, to make a check. So to be able to do what you do, and then, you got 6 top 30s, 2 top 20s, and 1 top 10 finish. I mean, man, that's awesome. That's impressive, and that's a great resume.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
I mean, do you look back and, like, say, talking about college and having the opportunity to travel around, is that a lot of your success there when it comes to how you did in the opens and qualifying for the elites?
Definitely, I for sure think it 100% helped. Just even having, even after college, having buddies that I've met in college that, live in that live in a general area that might throw me an area of the lake to, hey, can I go check out or whatnot. But, it definitely helped. And I traveled with my dad this last year, and he actually ended up qualifying and won the Angler of the Year for the co-angler side, co-angler of the year, and in the opens. And with him traveling around fishing with me, there was no doubt, like, me and him, we got out on the water and we could break down the lake. We could fish together and put our heads together and we could get out on the water and really break it down. And, that's one of the kind of the twists that the Elite Series has kind of thrown me a curve, because, we cannot get any information or solicit any type of information at all about where we're going, or as soon as they announce where we're going, we can't get any information after that. So it's kind of, you got to kind of change up the way you think and the way you fish a little bit. But, I kind of like it in the same sense as well, because whenever you get out on the water, you have 3 days of practice. So what you find is what you find. And during the tournament, you just kind of have to run with your gut. You got to go with what you know that'll catch fish, and just keep with it in your hands and fish with confidence all the time. So.
Is there anything that when you started fishing elites that was kind of like, wow, I didn't know, or is there anything that you learned real quick, shall I say, on the elites, whether it be the media part of it, or was it some stuff that's just kind of like, holy crap, I mean, what was it stuck out in your first elite event and how it happens?
I tell you something that was pretty cool, and one of the coolest experiences I had was whenever I was sitting at the dock at Fort Loudon, and I was about to go fish the second day of the tournament, and I'm sitting there and I'm rigging up some rods, getting things ready, and I look over to my right, and there's Rick Clunn sitting there right beside of me on the other side of the dock. And I'm like, dude, I was like, that's Rick Clunn. And then he reaches in his box and he pulls out like a foot-long file, like I'm talking an old-timey file. He pulls it out and he starts grabbing his crankbaits and he starts sharpening his hooks on his crankbaits. You talk about eerie feeling. You see Rick Clunn sharpen his hooks first thing on blast off. It'll wake you up, no doubt.
Yeah. That's kind of like going to your first Bassmasters Classic and going to the expo. You know what I mean? And you see all the pros.
Yeah.
For the average guy, you're like, oh crap, there's Daryl Swindle or whatever. Like say Rick Clunn and all of them. You're in a boat sitting right beside them for your first event.
You're like, man, I got a good fish against this guy, and he's sharpening his hooks, dude. It's like,
yeah,
it's go time. Let's go.
Yeah, and that ain't all of them. It's a bunch of them on there. That you see on TV all the time. No, it's like, wow.
Yeah, no doubt. And I tell you another thing too. Whenever you get out on the water, you always want to try and look for something different and try and fish a little bit different than what everybody else is doing to try and get a little bit bigger bite, a few extra bites. Well, with the elite guys, there's not like a lot of guys like all them guys know how to think outside of the box, basically, when it comes to fishing spots or fishing locations. Like they'll take the extra time to go in behind a shallow spot and fish it from the backside, or they'll hit it from a different angle, or they know how to try and trigger bite. So it's kind of like there's no advantage that you can really get against the guys. The guys are good, no doubt.
Yeah, it's a totally different. I know. Just I've been able to have the opportunity to marshal with them in the classic. About it's 3 different guys, and just like I say, watching how they break down the target and what they flip at and how they hit it, and just the odd and end things, and then some of the preparation that a lot of them guys do in the morning. I've watched one of them that that was fishing an eco rig, and every time that he had to retie or get a new hook, he always grabbed an extra hook out and an extra ring, rubber ring for the worm, and sit it on his boat every time. You know what I mean? And was fishing some deep water, so when he make a cast, sometimes he knew that he wasn't getting a bite until he hit the bottom. So while he was sitting there waiting to go down, he was either pulling out another worm or it's like he was always doing something. They're like machines.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That like their mind's going 100 miles an hour.
No doubt. And you have to be on top of it, because time is money on the water.
Yeah.
Every time you got your bait in the water, you have a higher percentage of catching a fish. So fishing is all about percentages. So the more you got your bait in the water, your percentages goes up.
Exactly
and
right.
Them guys know that. There's never a dull moment. It's always go, 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 go.
Yeah.
It's never like, hey, let me stop and sit out here and think about it and eat a sandwich or something.
Yeah, when you have a bad event like in a club event and you're sitting there like sitting in the middle of the lake, make a sandwich real quick, and well, I don't know what I'm gonna do next, and drink a Coke or something. Them guys, man, they hardly drink anything. Some of them, they just 100 miles an hour, man. And I was really impressed.
Yeah.
I was like, holy moly, it's a whole different level. So
no doubt.
But man, that's cool. Is there any lakes this year that you were looking forward to? Coming up that. Or is it just kind of one of them deals you're ready to get to all of them?
Well, I'm definitely kind of looking forward to the Fork tournament, Lake Fork. I'm hoping maybe there'll be some fish still spawning down there. I love sight fishing. That's my thing. So I'm hoping there'll still be a little bit of a spawn bite. I don't know if there will be or not. But, Fork, I was really looking forward to Pickwick, honestly. That was one of the tournaments that I was really, really looking forward to. I've had a lot of experience and time on Tennessee River in March. And practice went really well. I was on some big fish in practice, and that water just, man, that change in the 6 foot of water on top of it, and then ripping the current, it definitely positioned them fish different. And changed it up a lot. But
yeah, for sure. Chris, you said we got a question?
Yeah, Tom wants to know, what's your favorite lure this time of year in color?
My favorite lure, no doubt, is a green pumpkin green, a half-ounce swim jig with either a gold or a silver switchblade on it.
Nice.
Depending on my watercolor. If it's muddy, I'm going to go with gold, and if it's clear, I'm going to go with silver.
Now, that's what I wanted to get into our next segment real quick, and this is probably our last thing, and then we'll let you go. But normally do an in-depth segment with our anglers. Bill Lowen, he was kind of going over what he used to win his tournament on Pickwick. I want to kind of go in, and Bob's Up the Creek Outfitters. He sponsors our in-depth segment, so if you'd like to go check him out on his website, he sells all kinds of kayak accessories, kayaks, all the big brands. Well, I say a majority of the big brands. So make sure you go check out Bob's Up the Creek Outfitters and get you a kayak, get you some accessories. He'll get you hooked up with rigging. He's got 2 stores, one in Amherst and one in Moneta, Virginia. So make sure you go check him out. But let's kind of go in depth a little bit. So we're getting into, you was talking about you love spawning, and it's about that time of the year, at least here in North Carolina, Virginia area. What is now I know spawning can be, you can have 4 different rods, 5, 10, 12 different rods on the front deck to pitch at these fish, but what is your main go-to spawning bait? Now, when it comes to like, that's the first one I'm going to flip into a bed.
No doubt, hands down, my favorite is our hammer shake. Our queen tackle hammer shake, our rattle and shaky head. And I'll put either a biz baits cutter crawl on the back, or a Zoom Z crawl, or something of that nature. But I always leave it just something natural. I don't like going. Some people like throwing white, and they like throwing chartreuse so they can see it on the bed, and you can get fish fired up with them colors. But all in all, the best colors that you can usually have the fish commit to and not snagging on the outside of the mouth and he's going to eat is always like a green pumpkin or a watermelon, something very natural that them fish are going to suck on in. And I'll use either that Z crawl junior or that cutter crawl and put it on a 3/8 hammer shake. And with that tungsten shaky head, man, what's really cool about it, when you flip it into that bed, it's got that rattle inside the head. So any little rock or any little bit of sand, and a bass spawns its bed on a hard shells or a hard bottom of some nature. So when that tungsten head in general hits that shell or hits that sand, it's going to click. And it gives that extra little bit of click like a crayfish. Well, now you have a rattle actually inside of that head, a tungsten rattle inside of it with a tungsten outside shell. So when that tungsten hits, it's clicking already, and you can sit there and shake it, and it clicks just like a little crawfish. And them fish, I mean, it's crazy. You can flip other baits, and then you'll pick that hammer shake up, and it's like in no time you'll get him fired up, and he's biting it and putting him in the boat.
Now, is there, let's say you flip over, you got some fish that are not very active at first, and sometimes you really got to make them mad to hit. Say the shaky head ain't producing. Is there another bait that you really like to put over to try to really tick them off? Some people like throwing jigs and smacking them around with it and all that. I mean, is there anything you like to do to really tick a bass off?
Say if I can't get one to bite, and my last resort that I go to. So a lot of people say, man, you need to hit that fish. You need to hit it, and you can get fish to bite and react by hitting them in the side or bumping them in the nose and making them bite. But that's my last go-to because I've hit a lot of fish before and spook a lot of fish off the bed as well.
Yeah.
You can hit them and you can scare them away, and
snag
it's
them.
like, hey, why try to mess with it? You might even snag that fish. Just try and get the fish to commit and eat, and it's good down in its crushers. It's not a swipe at it or anything like that.
Yeah.
And but still, if I need to get him to bite, because sometimes you cannot get them fired up, and you do have to hit them. I like taking either a 1/2 ounce or I'll even use a 3/4 ounce hammerhead, which is our ledge jigs. Where it has the rattle inside the head. Same concept. It's got that little extra click, little extra rattle, and I'll take it in there and I'll pop him in the nose, and I'll actually sit there and shake the jig and just shake the rod, shake it, and then I'll give it a pop. And usually whenever that rattle sits there and rattle, that fish knows it. And you just kind of pay attention to the fish, watch how the fish reacts to it. And when you start seeing him give a little bit of a side motion, then you just pop that jig up off the bottom. He'll usually commit to it.
Yeah.
And suck that jig on in.
Dude, I love bed fishing. I'm like you.
Oh,
I love it.
Doubt.
It is the funnest feeling to sit there and watch a fish react to certain things. Like it's funny how now you can tell when they first come up, it's a lot better than it is when they've been on beds for a while because they've been pitched to about 20 million times.
Yeah.
But when they first move up and they're very active and they ain't been pitched to a lot, or you just find that one that just come up on bed, it's crazy to watch them react to different baits. I've had baits where like a watermelon candy, they'll chew it, and then you come to the next fish and he won't even look at it. But you put a black and blue or green pumpkin and he hammers it.
Yeah, it is crazy. And what's awesome is how some fish are really aggressive and some fish are completely opposite.
Yeah.
Like you can go from one fish to the next. Today I actually went to the water with one of my buddies, and we caught some fish sight fishing today. And
wow.
There was the lake's actually around here was on Mountain Island. The lake come up at I think 2 or 3 feet. So they were still spawning, but they were spawning out in 5 to 6 foot where you just had to barely see their white beds.
Mm-hmm.
And the first one we rolled up on, we seen a little white bed out deep, and my buddy flipped the jig over to it. And his first cast, that fish flared on it. And we're like, oh, man, we're going to catch it. So he turned around on it, got set up, and he flipped in there again. That fish hit it and just went off sideways with it. He sat back and he missed it. Oh, man. He wound back down and fired back in there again. And that fish run over there and smoked it again. He wound down to it and missed it again. And he flipped back in there again. It went over there and hit it again and went off with it, and he missed it again. I was like, all right, buddy, I'm 3 strikes. I'm going to have to flip in there. So I flipped my hammer shake in there, and I flipped it over there. First cast, he said, thunk, went off with it. Then I missed it. And I was like, good Lord. So I reached down and picked my worm back up and flipped in there again and caught it. And it was like just a 2.5 pound, like, little buck. But
Yeah.
it was just the most aggressive buck I've ever seen. You know, every time he got near its bed, it would bite. So we let it go, and we sit there and we pitching around, fishing some other beds. And we was looking, and we were seeing if a female would move up there on the bed, and we get back up there and started looking. We could see another dark shadow again on the bed. We're like, hey, looks like there's something up there. So we sat back, flipped on it again, shook it. It went off, caught the same fish again. I was like, man, that is one aggressive buck.
Yeah. You know, I had an experience like that in a tournament a while back. Me and my buddy Alan was fishing one, and it was at Smith, and they're all on beds. I found a bunch of them in practice. I said, dude, we're going to wear them out. I don't know if we'll win, but we're going to wear them out. And come up on about a 3.5, 4 pounder at the end of the day, flipped over there, worked on it for about 20 minutes. And because it would hit it, but when it would hit it, it would just pick that worm up and carry it out. Like he would just grab it by the tip of his lips, you know, and carry it out. And, you know, and we kept flipping around. And finally, I like I say, I just tapped him in the side, and it turned and hit it. And when it hit it, I laid into it, got it up by the boat. My buddy went to scoop it. I swear it went in the net. I swear it did. And all of a sudden, I see it swimming on off, going right back to the bed. And I'm like, what the crap happened, man? So we messed with that fish for about another 10 minutes, and she nailed it again. And we got it that time. But it is crazy, man, how they'll get so mad, like they just see red. You know what I mean? Like it.
Yeah, they can't resist it.
Yeah. It is. I just love bed fishing. And
one of the coolest experiences I got to do, going back to the college fishing, and this was you know, one of the cool experiences that we got to do while college fishing. We got to go to the St. Lawrence 2019 in I think June, and the fish were on the beds up there, and it was the coolest tournament ever. We had 82 boats during that tournament that caught the first day that caught over 20 pounds of smallmouth.
Wow.
82 boats had over 20 pounds. I had 23 and a half, and I was sitting in my 30th, and I was like, holy cow. You know, and I was like, I thought I was going to do something. And that tournament, before the tournament, I went out and I marked fish on beds. I had 233 fish marked before that tournament. That was 3 pounds or bigger.
That's crazy.
It was, you know, during that tournament, it was just such a slugfest and so fun. But, like, the way the guys actually done the best during the tournament, because them smallmouth were kind of hard to judge. Now, I didn't do this in practice because I felt like I could get a good idea of what they looked like, and I wouldn't want to stick them. But the way a lot of the guys caught them, they were going up there and looking for a fish in practice and actually catching the fish off the bed, weighing it, seeing how big it is, and then letting it go, and it goes right back to the bed, then come back in the tournament and catching the same fish.
What?
And I actually have a buddy that lives up there, and that's how he does. He dominates on a lot of his tournaments on the St. Lawrence and on the northern lakes. They'll actually go out and practice, and during practice he'll just go fishing like he normally would, look for his spawning fish and catch the fish, weigh them, and then he'll go back to what his biggest five in practice was and catch them during the tournament.
That's crazy, man. That's a bucket list area, and I would love to have a chance to go up there and fish that body of water. That's what I want to do when they're on beds is go. I actually wanted to get one of those little cones and put down in the water and catch them. You know, like I just think that's cool.
No doubt. I'd love to take a flogger up there and go look at them.
Yeah.
I like sight fishing anyway, so if I can see one in 30 foot, I think that'd be the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
My buddy was telling me, Cody Huff, he was actually telling me whenever he was up there, he bought one and had a flogger. And he said that he was sitting in 35 foot of water in the river channel, and he could look down and see the gobies swimming on the bottom.
Wow. That's nuts, man.
It was like, yeah, no kidding. That is some clear water.
Chris, you say we got another question?
Yeah, Chris wants to know if that was on a spinning rod or bait caster.
Are you talking about a shaky head setup for spawning fish?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, when you throw your shaky head, do you throw it on a spinning rod or a bait caster?
On bait caster, definitely. I'll throw my 3/16 and quarter ounce shaky heads. I'll throw them on bait caster. I just feel like I have a lot more control with that bait, and especially with like sight fishing, I like using I'll use usually 10 or 12. Usually 12 is what I'll sight fish with. It's it's not too heavy a line, but it's strong enough you can get that fish out. And instead of using, 6 or 8 on like a spinning rod or even 10 on a spinning rod, I just feel like I have a lot more control. I can put that bait where I need to put it and get that fish out of that cover as well.
Now, do you use a lot lighter action rod with that?
Correct. I'll use a Jinko high roller, 7.1 medium heavy, or a 7.3 medium heavy.
I got you. No, that's
It
nice.
has a nice fast tip to it. Something that you can throw in there and let that hammer shake do its work. Just got a nice little light tip so you can barely tremble it, barely shake it, and have that little rattle just barely sit there and click.
Nice, yeah. I hear a lot of guys some guys around here throw drop shots on bait casters, and I just never brought myself to do it. I need to try it more this year because I have lost some good fish due to just using too light a line, or can't get them out of structure or something like that, because, the rods they're like noodles. Well, buddy, I really appreciate you taking the time to come on with us tonight. I know it's late. I know you guys are getting ready, and I know you got a lot of work to do with your business. But man, I want to wish you luck this year. Really looking forward to following you on the Bassmasters series. I think you're going to do well, and I think you're going to have a good long career. Just kind of looking at your stats and seeing how things are going for you. And I think you guys and guys like Brian New and all these guys that are coming on with this tour are going to be the future of bass. You know what I mean? You're the next guys coming up. So we're really looking forward to following you guys, and luck this year.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Thank
have
you.
A good one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, man. It was good talking with him. Stories, and it is fun listening to them guys' stories. They've traveled around. They've seen a lot. They fished a lot. And him being young, he's already done a lot of traveling, So, but it's also great to get the perspective as coming onto the Elite Tour of, things that he just wasn't, quite expecting, shall I say, just how these guys are and how, like I say, trying to think outside the box. Them guys have been doing it for years. That's how they got there, was thinking outside the box, So it's really cool to see that. But Chris, let's kind of, because we're getting late, let's get into our giveaway. We're going to be doing a giveaway with RBT Custom Baits, jerk baits. I want to thank Ron, but also he's just it's great small business. Ron does a lot of great work, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how things go for Ron in the next several years. I know right now, like I said, it's the way the fishing industry is. It's hard to get that that maybe we didn't throw that color anymore, or we had a bunch of them because we got them on a sale. We love that body, but we just bought them up because So like I say, if you want some baits painted, Ron does a phenomenal job. Does really great at matching the colors you want. You can send him a bait and say, hey, I want these other baits like this. And he can do it. He does really great work. So, but Chris, let's go ahead and pick a winner. It's a random winner. Here we got RBT Custom Baits, and message them and give them your address there. Or you can message us and get us or don't put it on here in the comments. We don't want anybody, having your address and all that stuff. But other than that, Chris, is there anything else that we needed to cover tonight? Because I think we covered everything. We talked about
the race car.
Oh yeah, man. Let's do that. So me and Chris are big into iRacing, and I say big. We like doing iRacing. Yeah. There's guys that are big. We are the guys that just love to get out there and beat and bang and have a good time. And Chris does some streaming on your Twitch account, and you got some videos up on your YouTube as well, right?
Not a
series, and kind of getting into the Xfinity series and on iRacing. So Chris has done pretty good at building and drawing and designing cars. Yeah. So finally, the
pictures aren't the greatest, but you
get an idea. We got our cars.
Taking a picture of my monitor. So
have you pulled it up on there yet?
Yeah.
Okay, I just didn't see it on this end yet. So we finally got our name on a daggone NASCAR or on a Super Truck series. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, but no, I just want to share everybody that I thought it was pretty cool to see everything on there on the on iRacing. We finally got our name on a truck. So, but I do plan on, Chris, to
look at the pit board.
What's that?
When it comes up, look at the pit board.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing that picture.
James hasn't seen it. I don't know if he's still
watching. No, James ain't seen it yet. I haven't shared
the number.
There it is. Look at it.
You can put the number a different color. That's just my number I run on my truck.
Yeah,
That's why it doesn't match.
No, I love it. I think that's funny. That was from our screenshot for the Tuesday night tackle talk. I think it's great. But no, man, we are going to have our name on a real race car or the race cart.
Yeah.
We're going to put it on Matthew's race cart. Looking forward to that. We were supposed to have a race this weekend, and it's supposed to be the first what we're trying to shoot for with Matthew's race season with, sponsorship and all that. So we have Bob's at the Creek Outfitters as one of our sponsors. It's all big, wide on the side of the cart. I think it's just cool. You know what I mean? We got a fishing race cart. Fledged sponsors for the race cart. Have some different fishing logos on there or something. I need to hit RBT up. Look, man, we got to put your crankbaits on there.
Yeah.
But no, man, that's pretty cool. I like seeing that. I think it's just neat. It's just more advertisement. Get out there, run around. We do. We love racing. We love fishing. So, but anyways, guys, I appreciate y'all tuning in tonight. If you haven't yet, check out our One Objective T-shirts. We got the American flag. We love to support, our country, and we're all American made. So that's why we talked with Chase Tanner at Threadfin Apparel. He helped us out get this design. He does a really great job. Check him out as well when you need some swag for your business or whatever. So, but other than that, guys, I hope that you guys have a great night, have a great week, and hope to see you out